Hey, what's going on, homies? Today we're going to be looking at the UCS Xwing Starfighter from 2023. This is going to be set 75355 with 1,949 pieces. It will be 18 plus, so make sure you have your ID ready when you check out. And this set comes out on May 4th, 2023 for $240 USD. Kind of interesting that this one comes out on May 4th while the other Star Wars sets are all coming out on May 1st. Taking a look at the box on my handy dandy Lazy Susan here, we could clearly spin it around real quick, give it a once over. And you see something that kind of sticks out to me and a lot of us is kind of this new theme that Lego Star Wars is doing with their boxes. So they kind of have the whole, 18 plus icons black box going on, but they have a little dash of color here and you see a little bit of blue iridescence. You can see that they did the same thing over here with the Executor Super Star Destroyer with the red. So I kind of like that there's like a red and a blue one. It's really reminiscent of the original trilogy. So this is going to be based off of Red 5, or aka Luke Skywalker's X-Wing that we see in episode 4, 5. I don't remember if we see it in 6. I think we do briefly when they leave Tatooine, and then you see it again kind of in 7 and 8. And then as well as in The Mandalorian, weirdly enough, you see Red 5. So that's kind of cool. Taking a look here at the side of the box, I really like this little profile thing that they do there. You can see that those little 5 red rectangles there, those actually represent that this is Red 5. So in some sets, you could actually switch those out for like Red 3 or Red 2 or something like that. And then taking a look here at the box, we can see all the different features. Here's a nice little still with it. Hoping that's printed. I'm really counting on it. You see the minifigure there. We'll talk about that in a minute. Then you see a little still here from, it looks like A New Hope. As well as the dimensions, looks like it's 10.5 inches tall and 21.5 inches long. I guess it has a rotational aspect to it, so that's kind of cool. X-Wing, I'm very excited to see the mechanisms that they use for turning on the S-foils or not. We'll go over a little bit more about other X-Wings and how it was all done. But LEGO's always had a pretty interesting track of like changing up how the S-foils are accomplished. Then we see RTD2. I guess he has some sort of ejector function. He looks like he's kind of nestled in there a little bit heavy, but you know what? I'm just happy to see RTD2 facing the correct way. Normally I'm used to in the playsets, you make RTD2 go the opposite way, and then you just spin his head around. And then we have the cockpit. Looks like we have some ample room in that cockpit as well. And then here we do see the not for sale sticker. That is because this set was provided to us by LEGO early for review. We really appreciate that. This is part of the Emmasaurus network of channels. Taking a look over here on the side, not much there, just a bunch of words. Boring. And then looking at the top, you can see the new exclusive Luke Skywalker minifigure, and he looks gorgeous. Look at that with the dual molding. He's got his little black boots. He's got shoulder printing, which I love. And again, with X-Wing helmets, there's always a fun story back there, so we'll get into that here in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the textbook out on y'all. This is the Ultimate LEGO Star Wars Guide. It's a little bit dated. I think it goes to about 2018, but we're going to go over the history of LEGO Star Wars and the X-Wing. If you look over here, this is the original X-Wing Starfighter from 1999. I can't remember exactly, but I like to claim that this was my very first LEGO Star Wars set. I think I might have got like a bunch of LEGO Star Wars sets once for my birthday or Christmas. But in my eyes, this is always my very first original X-Wing. And so it does mean a lot to me, finally having a UCS version of it. Speaking of UCS, this is the X-Wing Starfighter, the very first UCS set, I believe, from 2000. And then moving on here, they had the 2004 playset. This is the one that came with like Yoda's hut and Dagobah. This one was very similar to that one in 2006. And then moving on over here, you see this is the 2012 X-Wing. I have this one, and I really like this one, especially because it comes with Porkins. Poor guy. A couple of the mini ones that come in calendars and stuff. And then this is the 2013 UCS X-Wing. You can see here that it has kind of that gray tip, which we don't see in this one, so it's kind of interesting that they go back and forth between this gray tip and not. Microfighter X-Wing, and then the other X-Wings aren't in this one because we had 2 more. Let me go grab them. All right, so I just whipped out 2 of the most recent X-Wings. They are kind of covered in dust, so please excuse that, but this is going to be the 2018 X-Wing. I think unanimously everyone kind of agrees that this is the best playscale X-Wing LEGO has ever made. What was interesting about it was this is the one time they experimented with a new pilot helmet. It looks kind of cool, it looks kind of dorky. It's a very contentious topic, but we'll get into that a little bit later. This one is by far my favorite, not just because of the detailing that's done, but also the little feature it had to change back into the S-foils was pretty sleek. Okay, and then now look into the newest one. This is the one from 2021. When you first look at this at a glance, you're like, yeah, that's a pretty cool X-Wing. They did a good job. And then you look at this one, and you're like, oh yeah, this one's kind of dumpy and stumpy, huh? I didn't really like this one too much. The mechanism for changing the S-foils was pretty like weak. I think you just kind of like do that. At least it was smooth. I have to give them credit for that. But all in all, you know, they were trying to cut down on prices and scale it down a little bit, and I understand that, but it's not the best one. So again, this is the 2018 one. Best one they've ever made, and this is the 2021 one. Not so good, in my opinion. All right, let's get this thing open. I know you guys are just as anxious about it as I am. These are not push tabs, but normally these big boxes don't have push tabs. Oh boy, wow, that's a lot. All right, taking a look at this, I'm gonna go ahead and organize this. Give me just a second. All right, so this is a lot going on here. Almost ran out of room on my table, but we could see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 10 bags in total. Most of the bags come with a second bag, like 8 for instance. 1 and 2. It looks like bag 5 is where we're gonna get our Luke Skywalker. And then as well as it comes with the printed cockpit piece. That is awesome. I really like when LEGO added this piece around the time of Rogue One. And then yes, printed UCS plaque. Oh, looks gorgeous. Look at that. Lets you look at all the little stats there is to know about the T-65 Xwing Starfighter. We don't mess with that T-70s around here, huh? Unfortunately, there is a sticker sheet that comes with this, but it is not too bad. Looks like we only got 4 stickers, so can't complain too much about that. Although, in general, with UCS sets, I do not believe they should have stickers at all. I digress. All right, and taking a look at the instructions, I hate to say it, fellas, but you know what? These CGI ones, I think they're getting a little bit better, but I also think they're starting to grow on me. So looking at the instructions over here, you know, it gives you a little bit about it. Over here, it kind of talks about the rite of passage for every LEGO Star Wars fan. Just talking about how the X-Wing Starfighter is, you know, one of these OG LEGO Star Wars sets. It's something they want everybody to experience if you're into LEGO Star Wars. It's kind of funny how we feel about the LEGO Star Wars X-Wings versus the LEGO Star Wars Luke's Landspeeder. We can't get enough of these T-65 X-Wings apparently, but you know, it's always a joke about how many Landspeeders we have. So it's kind of funny when you think about it that way. Moving on here, we talk about speed, precision, and firepower. Here they just kind of talk about a little bit about the, you know, like the armaments that the X-Wing has, all the kind of canon and lore involved in there. And over here they have all of the stills from when they were building and designing all these from the original movies. Looking over here, Red 5 standing by. This kind of just talks about how vital the X-Wing was to the rebellion and goes over a little bit more of the stats, the proton launchers. And then you can see here some more stills and some concept art that they had there on Dagobah. And then here's kind of cool, so meet the model designers. So the designer over here talks about how, I believe, if I'm reading this right, he was part of the original UCS X-Wing that was in 2000. And here's an example he has holding both the 2023 one and the 2000 one. They don't really mention the 2013 one in this. And then we have some more concept art there. And then over here, they just kind of go into some of the features that come with this set. One that stuck out to me for the first time, the plaque is decorated, no more stickers. Death to stickers. My new model is print it, don't stick it. And it talks about the new Luke Skywalker pilot, engine construction, and a little space for RTD2. You can see there's the model again, and then it has a little bit of close-ups, same ones you see in the back of the box. And then boom, let's get ready to build this. All right, we just finished bag 1. Took me about 20-ish minutes or so. Kind of a fun bag, and start off with a bang with the chair and the targeting computer. I kind of like that. It's right there. So, Luke, you turn off your targeting computer. Use the force. So, kind of cool, little nice chair, and we're already 2 of the 4 stickers down, so we're halfway done with the stickers. All right, and we are done with bag 2. Took again about another 20 minutes or so. And we have the mechanism for the S-foil already, so this is pretty cool. You kind of look in there and you can see that these two things split a little bit. So they're like on independent axes there. So this one goes with this one, and this one goes with the one on the bottom right. And the way the mechanism works, as you can see, there's a little beam inside of there. And you can spin it. If I can get the focus right. And you see it latches on there where those rubber bands are on that little ball joint. All right, and we just finished bag 3. Really all we did here is just put on the hull here. I'll have to say that it is kind of flimsy. Falls off pretty easy. It's just connected by those little hinge pieces that LEGO's been doing for a long time. I think I would have liked to have seen some sort of technique because every time I put one on, another one fell off somewhere else. So just heads up about that. All right, so we are just finished with bag 4, and I'm actually surprised how close to being finished in general this is. We pretty much have the bulk of the ship done on both sides here, left and right. We already have the cockpit on. Kind of looks nice. I like this little wing here that like locks it in place so the hull doesn't move as much. It's like when you pull it open, it kind of wiggles a little bit. It's a little bit flimsy, but not like super crazy. It's not any less flimsy than some of the other UCS sets, like the AT-AT for instance. And yeah, so I'm pretty excited about it. I'm assuming that I'm going to be spending a lot of time building each wing individually, so that'll probably be one bag each, and then the stand. All right, just finished bag 5. We got good old R2. We got the new Luke Skywalker, as well as an awesome, sleek printed plaque. And it looks like right here, we're going to go ahead. There's a hole there at the bottom. And, ooh, yeah. Oh, that was nice. That was nice. All right, and we just finished bag 6, which is going to be this wing here. It'll just slide on in, and then we can push those pins down. But something I wanted to bring attention to is they have these crazy new, I want to say, 4x8 inverted tiles. I don't think I've ever seen these before. I've seen so far in this set 3 of them. 2 of them in white right here, and then there's actually a gray one at the bottom right here. Pretty interested about this one. This one does have a sticker on it, but let me pull it off for you. That's how it looks on the inside. So that's a pretty cool piece. Let me know if you've seen this one before, but it seems new to me. Another new piece, I don't think I've seen it before, are these little corner pieces that go into the engine. Yeah, they kind of curve like that. It looks like a 3x3 profile that they have, and it curves and it makes this nice little windshield looking thing here. So that's a pretty cool piece as well. Pretty exciting stuff. Let's do it 3 more times. And all right, that ends bag 7. So we pretty much got 2 wings there on the bottom like this. And this is the very last of the stickers. And we just finished bag 8. So we have the 3rd wing over here. While putting this on, it did make this part come off. Again, so far my biggest complaint with this set is that some of these hull pieces come off pretty easy, but I'm sure once we put on the other wing, it might get better. So 2 more bags. Sheesh! All right, done with bag 9. We got all 4 wings on. Before I show you the S foils, let's go ahead and do bag 10. All right, we are finishing bag 10. This is the last one. I just wanted to show, I like the little method that they use here with just these little clippy pieces. It's really satisfying when you just kind of curl them up. Oops. Better with 2 hands, but essentially it's really satisfying to get these to kind of look like that. Let me grab the other 2 and put them on. All right, here it is, the UCS Xwing from 2023. This thing is massive. Just look at how much room it takes. I'm really excited to put it on the shelf. Thinking about putting it where the Luke's land speeder is and moving that down or something like that. But oh man, this is beautiful. It's a little bit thick. It's kind of a chunky boy. There's a lot of girth right there. But I think it looks fantastic. So right off the bat, you know, my first impressions of this, there are some issues to this. The first one going to be, I've mentioned it a few times, but the hull, especially back here, falls off pretty often. Another thing I noticed I had an issue with is these 2 pieces here. One's an anti-stud and one's a normal one. They're supposed to go up right in here, but if you notice, there's like not actually enough room for them to rest. So every time I put the X-Wing on the stand, these little clips pop off. So it's almost better just to leave them off. Or maybe I missed something in the internal working of that, of the X-Wing there. But yeah, it just doesn't really work. So that's just something to keep an eye out for when you're building this. Moving on a little bit more, I am very happy that there is only 4 stickers, 2 right here in the console, and then 1 down there, and then 1 down there. It does a pretty good job, and that is utilizing this. Again, I think it's a new 4x8 inverted tile piece. It's really cool. There's like 9 of these in these sets. So there's 8 white ones, then 1 gray one that's under the bottom there. I really like how they did the greeble in here. You know, it's pretty basic, but I like it. And I think another problem I do have with this set, I would have really liked to have seen like a custom brick build R2D2 at like a 3x3 instead of the normal 2x2 minifigure size. He just seems a little bit small in there. He doesn't seem like he's the same scale as the rest of the X-Wing. And now I'm going to show you guys the S-foil function. So if you recall, you can just kind of spin this around. It only spins clockwise. And boom, look at that. So I'll just try to do it one hand. Hopefully I don't break things. And It works pretty well. I'm pretty surprised at how like seamless it is. Let's look at another shot from the back. I really appreciate like how slow it closes. You know, it doesn't just like snap shut. So that's kind of nice. I am keen to see long term if this mechanism will continue to work. Sometimes with sets like this at this scale, and you know, it's really heavy. Eventually, like maybe the rubber bands will wear out or other issues might happen and it might not hold very well. But in general, for a UCS display, most of us are probably going to be displaying it with the S foils out, such as I have right here. And I just think it looks gorgeous. I think I want to go ahead and put this on the shelf soon. All right, so something else when it comes to displaying it, I think the best bet is to kind of have it at an angle. It doesn't look that great when you're just looking at it from the side like that. So maybe at an angle, it could even just be better coming straight at you. I do like that because you do get to see the plaque. I do wish there was like maybe a way you can kind of spin it around. I think you kind of can. Hold on, let me try that. Well, what do you know? It actually does work the other way. That makes sense because that's how the math works in that brick. So you can actually display it this way going up and down. I will say this is a little bit of an eyesore seeing the mechanism in there. Maybe it would be better shut. And you can see it doesn't really shut very well when it's at this angle too. So that is something to keep an eye out for. I think I might put it back to its original setting. Okay, so unfortunately, I believe I learned that this set does not really look that good on a display shelf when it's displayed up high because you're just going to be looking at the bottom of it and seeing the insides, and it's just not that great. So I will recommend maybe setting it down to a level such as I have here. And you know, I kind of like the idea of Luke's land speeder being on top of it. You know, that's Luke at the beginning of A New Hope, and that's Luke at the end of A New Hope. So I do kind of like that, and I would say it looks a little bit better that way. What do you guys think? Now I gotta find a home for this TIE fighter. All right, and last I want to go ahead and take a look at the minifigures. Okay, you know, this is the big appeal to this set is that we get this dual molded legs for Luke Skywalker. I like that it has the little tube that goes down his waist and then back up there, as well as having, you know, these little like belts and stuff. It's very accurate to the movie. We can take off his helmet, and he's dual printed, one with and without the sunscreen on, or whatever we would call it, that visor. And then there's the back, nothing too crazy there on the back. And of course, the best part of all of it right there, arm printing. Gotta love when LEGO does arm printing. It's kind of something I just expect to see when it comes to UCS sets, especially one this expensive. And I want to compare it to the 2018 Luke Skywalker. So you can see very similar. It's kind of weird. The tube goes a different direction than on this one. Kind of interesting, but it kind of gets the same point across. You know, you have those little weird things down there and the belts on the legs. You don't have the dual molded boots, but you do have this crazy dual molded helmet. You can see how different it is. So I'm sure a lot of you probably just want to see how it looks with this, and I'm actually very curious too. So we're going to put the UCS 2023 Luke with this one, and oh wow. I think I'd actually have to say this one looks okay. So I'm not the biggest fan of this helmet, but I really appreciate when LEGO tried something new. But I am glad that they defaulted back to the original one, which this one has been around since, you know, 1999, essentially, with some modifications, I'm sure. But taking a look at this one here, it actually looks really good on this figure. What do you guys think? I think, you know, this helmet is a really contentious topic. But for this figure, I think it looks pretty good. It's kind of silly because he has the visors on underneath them. Maybe if we put the visor on top of the visor, it'll look better. Huh. It's not bad. Does not look as goofy as it does on the original figure that it comes with. See, it just seems goofy, and I think it's the lack of arm printing. I think it's because this thing is just so detailed compared to the body, you know, from the side, it doesn't look good. Whereas when you put it on the UCS version, I think it does actually look kind of good. That is interesting. I wasn't expecting that. Now we're going to take a look at RTD2. Again, pretty much the same RTD2 that we've had since 1999. Something I noticed was comparing it to one of my other RTD2s here on the left. I believe this one is around 2020. Something LEGO's always had a problem with when it came to RTD2 was they kind of, it's hard to tell, but they had a hard time like getting the angle just right on the printing. So a lot of them slope up a little bit there on the printing, and I feel like they've gotten better about it. But I was looking at this new UCS version that I have here. A few things that are different. I can't tell if like they missed where the eye is supposed to go or if that was done on purpose. It looks like it might have been smudged a little bit. You can see two different like folios there. And then something else that's interesting is the light is purple or violet there, whereas on the old one it's more of a reddish color. So just kind of interesting. Otherwise, the bodies look pretty much the same. It seems like this one might have a little bit more definition, but it could just be that this one's older. And yeah, other than that, it's kind of pretty much the same thing. Just most interesting thing has to be the little purple lights there. And the last thing we're gonna do is compare it to, I believe, the best Playscale X-Wing Lego has ever made. Again, this is the 2018 version. I do not think Lego is ever going to make an X-Wing this good again for Playscale. And here's a good look from the top view when you compare, just see how big it is. It looks like this one might be about twice the size, maybe 2.5 times larger than this one over here. Kind of makes sense. I can't remember exactly. I feel like this one was for sale for about $80, maybe 90. Can't exactly remember that. And then this one, of course, is $240. Just quickly, I'll say on the price, I would love to see this at 200. I think this belongs at 200. I do know that there is the price increases, so that is something to take into account. However, I think this is a good $200 UCS. 240 might be a bit of a stretch, but if you're a big fan of the X-Wing and you can't get a hold of this Playscale one, I think you're definitely going to want this. Hey everybody, I just want to say I really appreciate you watching this review of the UCS X-Wing. It was sent to us by Lego. Again, really appreciate it. And I'm very excited. Let me know if you guys are going to get it in the comments. I think it displays pretty well. Like I said, you should probably have it on a lower shelf, not really on a high tier. And yeah, just let me know. Make sure to subscribe for more reviews and other content. Thanks.